I'm like, light them up and let them fly, boys. And everybody's just, dude.
I lived with 2 girls, and they were probably like this.
They were like, what the?
Nothing like stars from a paradise. Don't care, cause there's magic in the air tonight. Pretty girl in my ear, she the rarest type. Heaven on earth is right here tonight. I'm in the dream state. I'm in the dream state.
In all-time history, I continue to say it. I will continue to say it every single episode. It's just unmatched. Today, this story goes down in history as one of the greatest of all time. It's just an absolute fact, and I'm excited to dive into it because I know the outside of it, but the finer details, I get to find out a lot as well. A good friend of mine, a legend, the American Idol, Cole Hallman. How we doing, brother?
Good. How are you, man?
Dude, I'm doing amazing. This has been on the schedule. Thank you for rescheduling. Obviously, we were supposed to do it on Thursday, I think it was, but we had to move it to today, and now we are at literally at Summer Rental Studio is what we will call this. We're at Corey's spot, and it couldn't be a better setup, honestly. So, but to let everybody know here, I mean, you and myself, we go back a little bit, a couple years now, and to see everything you've done since, I mean, we're going to dive into it all, has been pretty legendary. I mean, it's been amazing. And you're somebody who always, whenever I see you, it's just the energy. I get so fired up. And it goes back to the days of retro, which is what we're going to dive into. But before we get into all those finer details and everything like that, I guess if you want to just give a little background about yourself, you know, we both grew up around here and all that, but just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
All right, so my name's Cole. They already know that, but I'm from Manasquan, so right next to Brielle.
Yes, sir.
Where Palsy's from. So.
Legendary.
Do they know you as Red or Palsy?
Both. Red Palsy. That is my name.
All right.
My first name has actually slipped one time. Jim Gallagher, my best friend on the pod. He said as soon as we started, but that's okay because I may blank it out. I might just let it fly, but continue.
All right. Well, I know you as Palsy.
Yes, sir.
But we met through our friend Terrence.
Goated.
I worked at Inlet Outlet with Terrence. Knew him from surfing. And he went to school in Hawaii, lives in Hawaii, and I went to school in Hawaii, so that's kind of how we knew each other because I knew you were really good friends with Terrence. But yeah, I'm from Manasquan. I grew up surfing, playing music, hanging out with Corey. He's the producer here. Family of 5, really close with my family.
Yes.
Went to school in Hawaii.
Big time. We're repping it right now.
Yeah.
We're repping Hawaii right now on the pod. I was debating sweatshirt and I said I had to do the Hawaii. That's a story we'll get into as well.
Yeah.
So going to Terrence, because that's where our mutual connection comes through. When did you meet him? Like, was it at Inlet Outlet when you started working, or you knew him from surfing before that?
Well, I kind of knew of him from surfing, but I met him, I think, more officially working at Inlet Outlet with him. But I actually, going back, I think he actually gave me a surf lesson when I was, like, really young. Like, I had this memory of, like, I did the group surf lessons with Inlet Outlet Rec, and I have this vague memory of Terrence teaching me how to surf. Because he's a little bit older. He's, like, 4 or 5 years older than me.
Yes. Yeah, he's my age, so that makes sense. Because all
How old are you?
I am 24. No,
24?
I'm 30. I'm 30.
Oh, word.
But
yeah, I'm about to turn 24. I'm 23.
Yes, so we're a little bit older, but I know him, like Skylar. I'm sure Corey did as well. But like all those older guys were doing the surf camps when we were like a little bit older, and they did them for the younger kids.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
So you get to know him a little bit better at Inlet Outlet, and you guys also would surf together up at the Inlet, or
yeah, and the Be Like a Kid stuff. He had that company.
Yes.
Everybody wanted one of those hats,
Dude, that's something we haven't talked about yet. We're gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah.
Damn, I totally forgot about that. So you were coming up in the game around that era, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the game. I mean, I was just surfing. Terrence and Corey are actually, were like legends at Inlet. Like,
still legends, absolutely.
To the Groms, but I was just the average Joe.
It is cool. So, you got the MIC, the Manasquan Inlet crew.
Yeah.
Which there's some OG stories. Dude, it's unbelievable. Because when we were young, we go up to the inlet, and the lifeguards that were there, like Corey knows all the ones I'm talking about, like the older guys. And then we were like the current era MIC.
Yeah.
And then you had all the Groms, which I guess were you and the other people.
Yeah, I guess I was a Grom.
But I never surfed. So, like, I was always just on the beach, like, talking to the lifeguards, just solidifying, dead in the sun, no sunscreen.
Dude, before I knew you, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little intimidated by you because you were just the energy is just crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get intimidated.
Like the first couple times when I would meet you at Retro and stuff when we hit it off because we knew Terrence, I was like laughing a little bit like at a nervous laughter kind of like this guy's a little nuts.
Dude, I think you are. I know for a fact you're not alone. Like my energy is a lot. When I really don't remember the exact first time we met. It was kind of like just overtime, but I remember the first time that I saw you at Retro after we had known each other. And like when I see somebody I know at Retro, like that's when I get fired up. Because first of all, I'm all just hype on pre-workout or just Folgers for the soldiers, whatever. Now it's bangs, like absolutely firing. And then when I see somebody I know, I'll just and I'm getting ready to like dive in and get after a workout. Like you said, I will approach with some crazy energy.
Yeah, and I'm very like just like I mean like there was a time I was working out more. I don't really I kind of been falling off track a little bit with working out, but there was a time I was just kind of getting started out and I was just trying to go like under the radar, and then you would see me and you'd be like,
dude, that's so funny.
And I would just be like, oh my God, keep my head down a little bit. But after a while I got over it. And I was like,
because you know what? That is such a funny point for you to say, because it is funny for me to think about that now. Like you were probably just starting out like, oh, I'm just going to go in and get my workout in. Like I'm just going to, and then you got me who comes in there and I don't give a damn. Like it could be a 280 stacked juice head, or it could be a beginner and I'll just be firing with the same energy. Like it doesn't matter to me. So it is funny to think about. You were probably just trying to flow under the radar, and then I'm in there. I'm like, yo, let's fucking go, and I'm just getting hype, getting ready to incline dumbbell all the time, dude, all the time. Yeah. But that's where like I started to see you more often. Was at Retro, because you were getting after it for a while, like pretty consistently.
Yeah, there was a time I was like doing pretty well with that. I got to get back to that, but it just feels good. Exercise.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And then, of course, we'll get into the Hawaii story, but you got just a crew of absolute savages that you were friends with out there, and like they would get after it too. But that's funny. Yeah. And then actually you mentioned this before the podcast, which is something that I had forgot, which is, again, at this point I had known you, but obviously the pandemic hits and you've been doing music and stuff, and then you start playing, on Main Street during that, because they were doing outside shows. And then you mentioned that, I had seen that you were playing with, what was the band's name at that time?
The Orange Blossoms.
Yes. Yeah. So you guys had started the page on Instagram. I knew you were in it, and I saw that you had been playing, and I hit up Terrence, and I was like, Cole's playing tonight. Let's go check him out. And then we went and we saw you, and you guys were playing, and it was awesome. And it was at a time where there wasn't a lot to do, obviously, and that was something that everybody could go. It was outside. It was on Main Street. Everybody was there. And I saw a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a while, actually, when I went. So it was cool to get out of the house and see some people. When did music, I guess, because it started sometime before that, start for you? Like, when did you get into it?
Senior year of high school. I mean, like, I always enjoyed music, and I took, like, 1 month of guitar lessons when I was in middle school, but I didn't actually learn anything. And then I bought a guitar senior year of high school. So started playing senior year of high school, but I didn't really start singing till halfway through college. But, yeah, end of high school. But I fell into it hard, like playing the guitar. It's so easy with the internet now to learn from friends and stuff. And then, I think that was the summer after my junior year. We were playing on Main Street after COVID, just like playing covers. That was like my first set of like gigs, like playing live, was just playing on Main Street in front of like the Garrett and Water Lily and stuff.
So were you teaching yourself? Like when you picked it up, senior year, were you teaching yourself?
Yeah, but I also had a lot of help from my good friend John Russo, who plays like lead guitar with me. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And so he was helping you out, and it was something that you fell into it, and you really enjoyed it, so you kept going, and it became a passion of yours, of course. And then you go to Hawaii for college, correct?
Yes, and I'm when I'm a freshman at school, I'm spending a lot of alone time. Honestly, I'm surfing a lot on my own. I'm like just writing music. At least freshman year. Like years go on, and I make the friends that you've met. But I feel like that actually helped me a lot. Is just spending a lot of alone time, like working on.
Yeah, what's it like? I guess because you got to figure you're going all the way across, and then across. You're going across the nation, then you're going across the water. I mean, you're. So, what is it like when you go out there? I guess for somebody who's coming all the way from Manasquan, New Jersey, to go out to Hawaii for college when you first get there.
Yeah, and at that point when I first went out there, Terrence wasn't out there yet. So I had some people I knew out there, like Sean McGrath or Morgan Stearman. I don't know if you know them, but
yep.
They were out in Hawaii when I first went out there. And but yeah, when I first went to school there, I thought I was gonna meet a bunch of kids who like to surf and stuff. But it kind of took me a while to find like, kids to surf with, and then kids to play music with, and just like friends in general. But a lot of growing up, I feel like, happens when you spend time on your own when you're like 18.
Yeah, especially when you haven't been, especially when you grow up where we grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And you're around people all the time. You know everyone.
Everybody knows you. You know everybody.
It's a big difference to go out to, and it's not like you said. You named two people, Sean and Morgan, and going out all the way to Hawaii and being out there on that island, like I can only imagine. And then it's kind of cool how you brought it back to the fact that being alone during those times, you had the music to go back to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Surfing.
So I feel like that played into me pursuing music. It was kind of like accidental, it was just, it's all I could do was play music and surf. And I was really enjoying it, I was really falling into it. And I was writing songs. And when I started out playing guitar and I was writing songs. I was like, because I've always liked to write. I'm just kind of creative like that. But I was like, somebody has to sing these. So I gotta start singing. So
might as well be me.
Yeah, so Corey knows. I don't know if I should be pointing at the producer.
No, you can. Yes, absolutely.
But he it wasn't. It was a little natural to me at first singing, but it's not like the second I started singing it, people liked it. I remember a lot of times my parents being like, "Would you shut up?" So.
Yeah, I mean, when you first start anything, it's not like you're going to be, like, even the podcast when we first start, I constantly watch the episodes back, and I'm good at talking. I could talk for hours. I could talk for days, years, decades, dude. But, it's different when you're trying something new for the first time, and you're trying to learn the skill almost. Mm-hmm. Like, again, podcasting is cool because we're just talking. So but there's also, like, things that you pick up. Like, I was watching a podcast. I was editing the Brant Wolf podcast. He's a good friend of mine now, great DJ. Mm-hmm. And I must have said unbelievable like 35 times in the first 3 minutes, And then as I'm watching the podcast, I see that I continue to say that same unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, I note to myself, all right, I got to stop saying that so much, and also just listening to the guests and making sure. But like you said, when you first start, it's not going to be. So the singing came as a byproduct of the creative aspect.
Writing, yeah.
Yeah, so
it wasn't, I was never like, actually Corey was a big inspiration because I would see videos of him singing randomly. He would post them on Instagram and I was like, oh, maybe I could sing, because I like to write. My mom likes to write. She's like a language arts teacher. Mm-hmm. She likes to write. So yeah, it was definitely a byproduct of that. It wasn't like, oh, I want people to hear me sing. I think I'm good at singing. That came like later after lots of like support from people like, oh, we like how, but that even the first couple of years, it wasn't so much like that. It was just kind of to myself. But then it takes a little while to find your voice, learn how to project. I took like some singing lessons over Zoom actually during the pandemic. And I feel like that kind of started to like roll the ball a little bit with momentum.
Yeah. So you're in Hawaii at college, you're writing songs, you're singing them. You're practicing learning the guitar still because it's still kind of fairly new. And is there a point where it all kind of, was there anything like a song you wrote or anything where it like all kind of came together and you're like, wow, I can put this all together. I can play the guitar, I can write a song, I can sing the song.
Yeah, well, it's funny, as crazy as it sounds. Literally like right as I bought the guitar and I'm kind of writing songs right away, just bad songs, but I'm writing songs. I'm like, oh, I should just put them out. Like, I don't know why I thought of that. Like, oh, I should put them out. Like, that was kind of crazy of me to think, like, these songs aren't good. But I guess with social media these days, you just post everything. Like, I used to make surf videos, and I would just put them up. I didn't really think twice about it. So I guess that was just my instinct. I'm like, oh, if I'm writing these things, put them up. So I put them first on SoundCloud, and then I actually ended up putting like 2 albums out on Spotify, because I'm like, that's where people listen to music, so I might as well put it there. Since then, I've taken a lot of that stuff down, like those first 2 albums down.
Yeah.
Well, they were like EPs, I guess. Mm-hmm. But because I actually like the writing on some of them. There's actually some great lyrics in those pieces. But like, you know, would you want to hear? I mean, I guess you would want to hear like. Would you want to hear like Paul McCartney's first songs that he wrote and recorded by himself like a year in? They probably wouldn't have been that great. Even if Paul McCartney is that great, like a year into it, like. That's what's crazy about these days is, like, you want to get out there and start putting stuff out right away, but, like, at the same time, like, you should probably learn the craft first before you start.
100%. And I think a lot of people dive right into it. You're right. And but you know what? It is true. I feel like either way. So, like, when I was thinking about starting the podcast related to that, it's like, I was like, all right, we're going to do this right, you know, but it's not like this is the first time I've bought camera equipment and the first time I've, you know, film something, put it into Premiere, and edited it. Like, we've done it for years before this, but it's the first time we put it into this setting and this setup. And it's like, all right, you know, I know what I need to do actually because of the first few times I did it, and it was garbage. And you just kind of learn. And I feel like
it's a learning experience.
It's a learning experience. And you always look back. It's funny, like, some people may not think this, but I feel like most people as creators, like, when you put something out and then you go back and look at it, your first, like, few things that you put out, there, you just feel like it's garbage. You feel like it's you're just like, oh my God.
No matter what.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're like, how could I ever think that was good? You know?
Yeah. At least now, though, I kind of know the direction I want to go in. Like, I feel like you know, the first stuff I put out, like, I had, like, auto-tune on my voice. I was using these, like, a lot of this stuff wasn't even in time. I didn't really know how to play my guitar yet. I thought I did, but, like, I didn't have the fundamentals, you know? So, like, there's some stuff that I kept that I'm not, like, 100% proud of, but at least the fundamentals were there, you know? Like, the first 2 singles I put out. And you're always learning. Like, I'm going to look back. I'm going to put out stuff this year that in 5 years I'll look back on and probably be like, but at least I kind of have, like, a direction to go in. Because it's kind of important to have a sound as an artist, but at the same time it's important to be, like, have a variety. You know, not just be like a one-trick pony, but...
Yeah, I think, and actually funny that you're saying this, on that Brant episode, he's a DJ, and he produces his own music, and he's unbelievable. Yeah. He's unbelievable. And we were talking about how, you know, as an artist, you grow, your sound may change a little bit, but it's interesting to hear the perspective of somebody who listens to your music where it is, say, now, and then a couple years down the line, you may have a completely different sound. And now they're like, wait a second, that's you too. But what you said, the variety, it's good to have, you know, that sound and that staple sound, but the variety I think is huge, especially as you grow, because especially when it's, you know, and we're going to dive into the details of your whole American Idol experience, but when you get new people to listen to what you're doing, you're going to have a lot more perspectives, a lot of different ears, and a lot of different, you know, sounds. Like, people like different things. Yeah. So it's important, I think, to put variety into it, you know?
Yeah. And I think the big thing with those, like, first 2 projects I took down was I had a video blow up on TikTok, like, right when I graduated, like, May 2021. Or was it April? Might have been April. Mm-hmm. But people were like, oh, like, it all happened so fast, you know? It got, like, 2 million views overnight, and people would, like, oh, do you have a Spotify? They went and looked at my Spotify, and it was, like, totally different because the stuff that was on Spotify had been on there for, like, 2 years, and I had improved a lot since then. So a lot of people were like, what is this garbage? You know? like, this is not the video that I just watched. On TikTok, it's a totally different thing, because the thing on TikTok was just me and my guitar, and everything I had on, it was just too soon, you know. I put stuff out too soon, but at the same time, I don't regret it, because it was like a learning experience. But TikTok, like, started my whole. TikTok is what got me on American Idol too. Yeah.
So to take it back a little before that, you were playing. When did the Orange Blossoms come about?
Well, I had been playing with Johnny since I started playing guitar. With our, you know, the Malgins?
Yeah, of course.
So the Malgins, I did the surf team with the Malgins, and, you know, they played music in high school. I didn't play yet, but I would watch them play. And then when I would come home from college and I was just learning, they would let me play with them. We'd play like the Spring Lake 5, stuff like that. But they live in the city, the Malgins. But Johnny's still around here, and I'm good, like childhood friends with Johnny, family friends. And we just started playing in the backyard together during the pandemic because I was home from Hawaii. And then one day we got together with the rest of the crew in Johnny's backyard, and we were just like, we should just start playing covers out because we were having fun doing it. And one of my mom's friends has a store on Main Street in Manasquan. She was like, you can play in front of it every Thursday. All the restaurants have people eat outside because it's COVID. Yeah, so that's how that started. We were just playing once a week, and then we were like, well, we should make a name. And then the summer after that, well, let me just rewind for a second. So we finished that COVID summer. I go back to school in Hawaii. We were just playing like maybe 1 or 2 gigs a week. I finished my year of senior year of college, and right as I'm graduating, I have like a hit on TikTok.
Yep.
So, I'm graduating with like a teaching degree, and I'm thinking like, oh, I got momentum with music right now. Should I go for stuff with music? And I just start playing a ton of cover gigs with the Orange Blossoms all that summer. So like, Reef and Barrel, Columns,
yep,
all that stuff.
Well, what I was going to say is you're playing with the Orange Blossoms,
Yeah.
and I remember before before the TikTok thing blew up and all that,
Yeah.
you had been telling me like, oh, we're starting to book a bunch of gigs.
Yeah.
We're playing all over at the spots you just mentioned, even more spots.
Yeah.
And then what I'm wondering is where does it take the turn where you kind of focus on just doing your own thing?
Well, I still include like the musicians that were in the Orange Blossoms.
Yeah.
It's just the thing happened where a lot of the times I felt like I wanted to focus on recording music, like recording my songs and stuff, and they just kind of wanted to like play, and like jam in the basement.
Sure.
Recording is frustrating because you listen back and you're like, that's me,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing with listening to your own voice, I'm sure. But it's even worse than that because, like, timing is involved, pitch is involved. So it's a lot of work that goes into recording. So I was just recording stuff on my own, like, and putting it on Spotify. And then when stuff started to blow up, I was like, I should just kind of, people know me. And then, when I was on American Idol and from TikTok, people know me from my name. Why am I going to play under the Orange Blossoms when nobody even really knows me?
Yeah.
From that, So I still, like, I keep my options open with musicians because, like, Pete, who was in the Orange Blossoms, for example, he plays in the great punk band, Teenage Halloween, and they're, like, touring and stuff. So if you're a singer-songwriter, you kind of have to keep your options open sometimes because, like, he'll be busy and then I need, like, another guy, So it's kind of like who's around or who I think is right for certain songs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, you're playing with them, and then you may not have suspected that you're going to blow up on TikTok like that, And then you got to, when an opportunity presents itself like that, where you can keep running with it. I think the good thing, I talk about this on a lot of different episodes so far, is the thing with TikTok is the virality of it is crazy. Like sometimes you don't know, and it just strikes and it goes. And then you kind of have an idea of, okay, this type of content, resonates with people, so I could run with it. So I'm guessing when that happened for you, you were probably like, okay, let me, hone in on my skills individually and run with this because now it's starting to go.
Yeah, and there was a middle ground where like I was doing the originals with them, and then there was a time where I was like kind of trying to do both. I was doing like the original stuff under my name, and then having the Orange Blossoms as like kind of a side thing that only like local people knew about for like cover gigs. Because there's such thing as like a radius clause. So like when you go to play an original venue and you have to sell tickets, they say you can't play within 60 miles of this place for these 2 months because we want to guarantee that you're going to sell tickets at this place. So like I couldn't go play covers as Cole Hallman at Parker House or so I was like, all right, I'll keep the Orange Blossoms things as like a different name, but then it's just kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do both because people are always going to gravitate towards the covers because it's like easy and like what people know,
especially around here.
And it's fun. It's like such a cover band culture around here. So after American Idol, I was kind of like, I'm at least for right now, like while I have momentum, I'm gonna really try to focus on original stuff because that's why I got into this. You know, like writing music. I love playing covers. It's fun. It's just kind of hard to do both. Not many people like have done it super successfully. You know?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, to go back, I mean, when you first started playing, you were writing songs, so it's kind of like you've been doing that the whole time, and it's been originals. So.
Same with TikTok too. Like I kind of don't post I try not to post as many covers on TikTok. It can be a useful tool for like virality, and then you can kind of ride the tailwind of that, you know, success or views. But yeah, it's a tough thing to balance. Everybody does it differently. You know, there may be a time where I go back and start doing covers more because they pay and stuff. But for right now, I'm really enjoying just writing music, and I don't really care how, like if it's received well or not. I mean, like I just think like it's sweet. You know, right now I have like, you know, there was a time I had like, I think like 40,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Right now, it fluctuates. Right now, I only have like 10 or so. But that's like sweet that many people just like my original music. And it's not really anything I can like make money off of right now as far as like streams goes. But I don't really care. It's just cool that people connect with it. Like I was just talking to Corey. Some kid just messaged me. I posted an original on TikTok today, and he was like, "Hey, I really like that song. Could you send me the chords?" And I sent him the chords. And he's like, "Thanks, man. Like you're a big inspiration." And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool that like I'm inspiring this kid." Like, and he's just like learning my song somewhere. Yeah, I don't even know where he is.
Yeah, that's why I really do enjoy like social media too, because I think it gets a bad rep, obviously, because there's a lot of toxic stuff on there, but for the most part, like I love the fact that you can connect with people, and especially the people you know first and foremost, which is great. That to me was always the best because I love like my energy, as we said before. I run off the energy from my friends, like that fuels me. But just being able to connect, I've connected with people on like Instagram before TikTok was a thing, and become friends with these people, and like then you see them out, and it's like that same energy, you know, happens. So I think it's great, and then of course, you know, it provides opportunities you may not have, you know, thought of or thought could have been a possibility before that. And so leading into that, the whole American Idol thing, you know, how did that come about?
So a producer actually saw that first viral TikTok I had, which had like 2 million views. It was me singing a cover of this song, "You Can Have the Crown" by Sturgill Simpson, which is funny. It's like a country song. And I'm like right on the cusp of like, I'm like Americana and like, people would say maybe, but like, you know, I'm from New Jersey. I'm not really country.
Greatest state in the union.
But yeah. So she messaged me, and I think it's a scam at first. I'm like, there's no way some lady from American Idol is messaging me. And then I get on a call with her, and she's like, "Come do this Zoom call in a few days." And I go do the Zoom call. It's like an audition. I didn't even realize it's an actual audition. I go in, and there's like 50 people in the waiting room, like all these singers, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't a scam. Like this is for real," which is funny. I told her that after, you know, I went to Nashville. But anyways, I do the audition. I sing for the executive producer. Like I got to skip a bunch of rounds because if one of the producers sees you, you get to skip like some Zoom rounds and go to the end Zoom round. And they liked me, so they flew me and my mom and my sister down to Nashville, and yeah, it's funny. They ask you like about your story and stuff. They didn't even know about like my mom or my sister, like my background story, until I got to Nashville, really, which is funny. Which it's like what the whole segment kind of became about is like me and my relationship with my sister.
Yeah, I mean, I actually want to jump in there real quick because I think it's important. Maybe we talk about that a little bit because obviously that became the whole segment, like the story. But I was, you know,
well, that's what American Idol is. It's TV.
Yeah,
you know?
the feel-good story.
It's everybody's story, you know, because there's so many, like, the amount of talented singers that did not get aired is like insane.
I'm sure.
Know? There's actually this this kid Elliot I know who I'm so shocked he like didn't get aired. He actually even made it further than me in the show. And he's just going like crazy viral on TikTok and Instagram right now. He lives in New York, and it's so awesome to watch because like I was so like bummed for him. There's hundreds of kids who like didn't really, only like 50 auditions get aired, and there's like hundreds and hundreds of people at the Nashville, LA, New Orleans auditions.
So people are making it through to Hollywood, and they're, a lot of those episodes are not airing.
Yeah, like a lot of those segments, like people's segments are not airing. You know, like there's people who made it further than me. I was only on 3 episodes. I made it to the second round of Hollywood, so I had the Nashville audition, and then I had the first round of Hollywood, which I made it through, and then I got cut in the duet round, which was the second round of Hollywood. There are kids who made it around further than me who didn't even get aired, like that kid Elliot, for example. There's a ton of them.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But at the end of the day, it's a TV show,
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's good. Like most of the people who get aired like are amazing singers, But it's like a balance. It's like it's the talent and it's the story too, definitely. So
well, your story with your sister, and I don't know if you want to kind of dive into it or give a little background on it.
Yeah. So my sister has special needs, and she actually came down just because I thought it would be like a cool experience for her. My mom came down too. I didn't actually expect them to like. If you watch my audition, they actually come into the judge room with me, and it was just a really cool moment for my sister. I'm sure anyone who has like a sibling with special needs can relate that it's just cool to share. That was like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. She loves Katy Perry, the song Firework, and it was just really cool for her. I probably wouldn't, like, it was also a lot for her, too, because she gets very, like, overwhelmed with all the, you had to get up early and being surrounded by a lot of people. Sorry. But, it was a great experience for her.
Yeah, I'm sure she was just having the time of her life.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the audition and then, like, them bringing your family in, bringing her in to see and everything. Yeah. So why don't you walk us through, what an audition is like? I guess through you kind of, like you said, you kind of sped through because they had seen you already. But when you were in Nashville, right, where you went to, could you kind of walk us through the process, like the day of, what's it like when you go for an audition?
Yeah, so there's like a day or two of... So you're there for like 4 days total, I think. 3 or 4 days total. And the day or two before, they're just kind of getting content of you for like your story and stuff. B-roll of you just like walking around. Finding out what your schedule is for when you're... But it's a lot of just waiting around. Like it's a lot of just like, hey, go in this room and wait there. And when this line is up, you'll be up to film. There's probably only like 5 hours of actual filming in a day, but you are up for, 14 hours. Like you get up at like 6 a.m. and then you get home at late, So that's what that's like. And then the actual audition day, it's just a lot of waiting, man. It's just a lot of waiting around. And then, you watch yourself on TV, and I had a really long segment compared to what other people had. And I only had like 8 minutes. Like there's some people who have like 2 minutes, and you spend like 4 days of like all this filming and waiting around. It's crazy. But I met a lot of cool people in the process of it. I still stay in contact with a lot of people I met at the auditions.
That's awesome.
So I think I'm gonna go down to Nashville soon to do some recording, and I still stay in contact with some people who live down there. So hopefully meet up with them.
Yeah, there's nothing like being around like a bunch of people who are like trying to chase the dream, chase their dreams. People, it's inspirational, but also it keeps you going. Like I talk about my friends like fuel my energy, right? Like I've always had a really close relationship with my friends, and so like that's why it fuels it. But like being around that energy, like being around people who are going after something, I think I talk about the whole 9 to 5 thing, and I never knock it because, you know, there's a lot of people who do 9 to 5, and like that's what they've always dreamt of, is like to be in that position, being able to provide for their family, like support themselves, and like, you know, create a life. And that is, to me, is legendary. Like if you're able to do that and you're living your dream, that to me is like legendary. And so, but a lot of the energy that exists within that is not like dream chasing energy, as I call it. And I love that energy. I love being around that energy, and that's why being at like just you being at that tryout and everything like that, like it resonates with me, especially when I was at Reds. Like all the kids that I knew, you know, at Reds that I became close with, they're all like younger. They're all just getting ready to graduate and start their lives and stuff. But like a lot of them like have big dreams of doing like a lot of big things. Yeah. And being around that energy, like it will fuel you. Yeah.
It's definitely a balance, man. It's like the dream, chasing the dream, but sometimes you could also get like too caught up in like the wrong, being in it for the wrong reasons, you know? So especially in music, because it's all like attention based, you know, like kind of like your whole currency as an artist is like how much people are, your fans are paying attention to you. And it's a tricky thing, but I feel like I'm getting better at it as I go along. And it just takes so long. Like you think people blow up overnight, but like if you actually go look into their backstory, it's not like an overnight thing. Like,
it takes time. Crazy. It takes time, and nobody who ever makes it like that it's very rare that somebody blows up that quick. And it's like a lot of the times, even when it's somebody comes out of nowhere, it's like they've been doing that, you know, particular thing that blew them up for so long, you just never saw it. Yeah, you know? And
the whole music industry is like flipped on its head now because because of record sales and don't really exist anymore, and Spotify and social media and everything like that, and the record labels don't really have the power they used to, and like a lot of people are like, do I even need a label? You know, it's a lot of things. It's a thing a lot of artists tussle with, and I think my goals have changed a lot. Like when I was first blowing up on TikTok, I was like, this is it. I was so naive, man. I was like, this is it. I'm getting big.
It's the big break.
It's all, but as time goes on, I would love to just be like a middle class musician, like especially with original music, because that used to not be possible. Like a middle, like record labels would only support the artists that were like at the top of the charts. Labels had all the power, but now like if you can like create a fan base that is like sizable and diehard, not super sizable, but just like good enough where you can go to each big city in America and sell like a 500 person room or something like that, or 1,000 person room, like you can create like something sustainable and something people actually believe in, you know, instead of just like you were like a one-hit wonder and then you're just kind of on the tail end of that. And like, you know, a lot of music careers are just like, at least original music careers are like just quick and then gone.
In and out.
I would like to, it takes a while to build stuff. Like my friend's band, Dogs in a Pile, they're such a great example of like the grassroots. They're just touring. And like, they're so talented that people are just gravitating towards them. I mean, they just did 2 sold out like nights at the Pony, Stone Pony. It's like 1,000 person venue. They're getting all these opening gigs. People are really enjoying their music. So they're like, and I opened for them like after Idol, and they've just been like good mentors, those guys.
Yeah, I've seen them, I think, through probably mostly your social media, and then of course just from being around, like other people know them from around here as well. But how many people would you say, because when something like that happens, I noticed a lot of people that I knew were sharing like your audition and like, you know, crazy, like man. You see just the reach it gets. And like even my buddy who runs the Manasquan Gossip page, I know they were pushing you a little bit because I saw it on there, and they were like Manasquan's own Cole Hallman, American Idol. Yeah. Like it was cool to see the support from everybody around here. Like were a lot of people like reaching out to you at that time when that aired?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely like a crazy time in my life. 'Cause it's just such like a validating thing. Like you could tell you're like, when I was first going for music, My parents and my grandparents are super supportive, but I feel like my grandparents were like a little worried, but you know, once they hear American Idol, they're like, "Oh, he's on TV."
There you go.
You know, but it's funny because it's not even that.
Oh, he's on TV.
It's not even that. It's not actually like like you get on American Idol and like boom, you have a music career. It's not what it used to be. You know, like TV just isn't what it used to be. So, but it's still like amazing. Like the amount of exposure I had at that time is so helpful. And, like, I'm so grateful for it. But, like, now I kind of have to, like, see the long game of it and, like, build off of that and write good music people actually care about, you know, and, like actually follow through with it. And that part takes time. So that's, like, the crazy part is you come off the show, like, a month or two out of it, and you're, like, you know, you feel, it feels like a roller coaster. You're, like, up here, and then it's, like, boop, kind of pretty much back to like what I started, but like a little bit higher, you know. That's what a career is like. I feel like as an artist, it's like, oh, you have a moment, and then it's like, you know, with TikTok I had a moment, and then it's like, oh, back to nothing, and then it's like, oh, American Idol, oh, back to nothing, and then I had another viral video with my sister Katie that got like 30 million views, and it's like, oh, another thing, and like, oh, this song did well on Spotify, but then it just goes back, and like each time you go down and you get like a little bit, your actual gain is a little bit higher, but those people that you've gained, like when you go down, like the 10,000 people I have listening now to my Spotify has been like steady, and I feel like those people are like true fans, you know? You got to burn through the people who are just there for like a little bit and then get to like the true, and I'm sure the Reddcast will go through the same thing. You'll get like views on TikTok and people will listen for a little and then it'll go down, but then you'll get another hit, you know? It's just kind of like,
Dude,
that's how it works.
You just described the process of becoming like successful
Yeah.
perfectly to a T. Like that is what it's like. It's like people think, okay, this is your big break, but then it goes back down. But you have some people that were along the way for that big break that stick there, you know, that stay around. They're like, yo, I really like his music.
Yeah.
I really like what he's doing. And then you have another big break and you recruit a few more. But the majority of the people that are riding that high with you, they tend to fall off when you're on the way back down. And the few, but that's good. Because it weeds out the people that you can't blame them, and it also weeds out like the people who just want to be there for the hype, but then keeps around the people that are going to stick around and watch your journey, like the true ones. And again, talking about like Reds, just going back to that, it's kind of an example off music. You think about how many people I met when that place blew up, the amount of opportunities that came up, and I've always tried to approach everybody as a friend, you know, as opposed to just like a business opportunity or a customer. Like if you came into Reds, I was genuinely interested in trying to become your friend. Like I wanted you to come to Reds and feel like you were a part of the family. And so I think that helped me keep a little bit more than most people would as you're on the way back down. But when it was at its height, it was like all these people. And then, you know, you come back down and you find people haven't reached out to you in like 2 or 3 years, you know? It's like, but that's all part of the game. And I think you have to be able to ride that. And I think for people that don't, the way you described it was so perfect because there's people out there that may not have hit their first up. Yeah. And it's good for them to know that when you're on the way down, you're going to lose a lot of people, you know?
Yeah, and it's fine. It's just it's the process. That's why you got to be in things for the long game, and you can't be, you know, just so short-minded about it.
Yeah, and you can't just it's funny, like, just taking advantage of the opportunity as well. Like, that's why it goes back to that whole virality thing with the TikTok. Like, it allows you to really capitalize on what is working. And it's kind of like when a bar is full. Like, if you think about it, like, when we were at the height of our craziness, like, we would be open from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., and we wouldn't even get busy till 11 p.m. Like, people wouldn't show up for 2 hours, and then it'd be packed for 2.5 hours. And it's like, okay, guys, it's like you got 2.5 hours to put as much money as you can in your pockets. Like, that's your time to make tips. So while they're in here, you better make it. So I think that's also a good point. It's like, as you are riding that high, it's really good to capitalize on those opportunities as well.
It's so hard now. I mean, it's not so hard, but it's hard in a way. I feel like a lot of artists can relate. It's like, nowadays, with the way the algorithm works, it's like so awesome that like I've gotten the opportunities that I have gotten. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I went viral. But like going viral these days isn't really, it's like oversaturation, you know? Like a ton of people go viral now. And also like when you get followers now, it doesn't really mean as much because like it's all algorithm anyway. So like I have like 300,000 followers on TikTok, but sometimes my videos get, you know, recently my videos have been getting, you know, a couple hundred views, and like
it's
there's
crazy.
times they get so much. So it's like you got to find ways to like create real fans and real connections. Like I'm thinking about starting like an email chain or something. Just like, hey, if you like my music, because like Instagram like will only show my stuff, or my TikTok will only show my stuff sometimes if it's like similar to the video that went viral, and it's hard to do sometimes because it's like you're just like, man, am I just gonna keep making the same video and I'll get views?
Yeah.
Like so it's tricky, but there's ways to navigate it. Some people navigate it; they're really smart about it, but it's easy to. It's just a roller coaster. So you gotta just. I think the best thing to do is like whatever you like doing, make that first, and don't worry about how it does. Like I'm gonna be recording an album soon, and I'm excited to like do it. And then figure out ways to promote it, as opposed to like, oh, let me write this song. I think it'll go viral.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think
I
that's
did
the
that
best
with
way.
Other Lover. It worked. And luckily it timed up with that other video, my sister, that went crazy viral, that got like 30 million views. I released it like right around then. And you know, now it has like a couple 100,000 streams. And I recorded that like long before. And then I was like making these promotional videos after I recorded it. So like the marketing wasn't affecting the actual art. I was just like trying to be creative after the fact. You still got to be creative. You can't like some people are so think like just because you post a video of yourself like, oh, listen to my new song, that people are going to listen to it. They won't. Like you got to be smart with marketing. You got to like make it seem like it's not an ad. You got to like I try not even to be like, listen to my new song anymore. I just try to like make some kind of creative video with my song. And if people like it, hopefully they know to go to my Spotify, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a balance. It's a balance between, you know, you always want to, you know, root it in doing what you believe is like right or you love.
Yeah.
Like what's real to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then figure out a way to market it so that more and more people can find it, you know, because you don't want to go, like, imagine you go crazy viral for doing something that you don't normally do, and then you try to just ride that and do videos that are very similar, and then it's like you're not even being yourself, you know?
And unless you're doing, like, ad sponsorships with, like, brands, you're not really making money off, like, the views you get on TikTok. I mean, you make some money, but it's nothing you could live off of unless you're, like, insanely viral.
Yeah.
You know, and at that point, if you're that viral, like you're so famous, you can make money other ways.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy place we live in now because we have the opportunity, but it's also like so oversaturated now with like, everybody trying to do it. But it's also like if you got the grind and you got the vision, you can do it. It'll just take time, but you can. I'm inspired with you doing this. Me and Corey both believe in you with this podcast.
Well, come on now. I mean, let's go. We putting all, and you know what's funny is like, I appreciate that first off, but like being able to do this with my friends, the people that I know. I was telling this to Corey the other day. It's like you go through these stories and of people, and I think what social media has revealed kind of over the last few years is that you don't need, and it kind of relates to that record label thing. You don't need to be some rich and famous person for people to hear your story. Like there are people that we know, like our friends that have crazy stories. Like we're sitting here right now talking about how you were on American Idol, like, and made it a few rounds in. And it was this crazy big story. And that's why it's cool when people from around here kind of get behind that kind of stuff, because there's so many people out there. And I think just in particular, our friends that have done so much and people from this area, it's like, I want to show that off. You talk about like getting guests for podcasts.
Yeah.
That's a big thing right now. Like people are always about getting big guests. And I do understand that because it brings views in.
Yeah.
But what you got to remember is like, I think when you're building something like this, especially a podcast, we do hour 10, hour 30, 2-hour episodes. Like people that come just for a specific guest are not so much going to repeat and come back and watch the next episode.
Yeah.
So you're trying to build something that's going to last over a longer period of time. And if you're doing something that's true to you, which for me, it's just connecting with my friends, like that, I think is the overall long-term success key. It's like, because people are going to come back over and over, or the people that do come back over and over are going to be the ones that really like the content for what you're doing it for, you know? And
Exactly.
and that's what's cool. I like talking to my friends and putting out the stories of what they've accomplished, you know? Like think about how many people are like, we're going to sit here and there's going to be a lot of people that probably saw you on American Idol, know me through Reds or just from being around, and then they're going to put 2 and 2 together and be like, holy shit, they know each other. And then
cool.
and then they get to dive into the detail and hear like your whole story. And that to me is fucking cool. That's what's cool to me. Forget a big time guest that like is going to bring in a ton of views. That's cool. I guess, but I'm more interested, or I would be more interested in learning about that person's story as opposed to just having them on to get views. That's not what it's for, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing it. And that's why we're going to fucking dominate the motherfucking Reddcast, dog. We ain't stopping. It's all time. Now, listen, we got to go back. We got to talk about Hawaii. Because now we're just going off that. People don't understand. Listen, we're all fucking day with it, dog. But, yo, it's funny because you were out there. And it was interesting because you mentioned it. Terrence wasn't out there when you initially went out there.
No.
But he was out there for a long time. And then he comes back, and he's home for a few-year period.
When I'm out there, pretty much.
Yeah. And then he goes back out there.
My senior year.
Your senior year. So it kind of lined up perfectly. And that was during the whole, like, so that was after the main part of the lockdown.
Yeah.
And then it was in a time where I was going through some crazy shit with Reds, and the fact that they were still regulating everything and, like, making sure you were following all the rules, and every single day someone coming in to check and count people at the table and make sure they were fucking 6 feet apart and 8 people a day and all the bullshit that they were fucking doing during that time. And I was so fucking stressed because it was a unique time in that it was the time where Reds was building. So it was a time where no one knew what Reds was. Yep. Not many people knew who I was, but over that year they started to get to know me. And then they were like, oh, we want to be around this energy. We want to go to Reds. It's the only place that's actually letting people come in and do things and be together. So it starts to build, and every day more and more people want to come in. But that means every day I have to keep more and more people out because you had to limit the capacity. Now, of course, I was pushing the rules a little bit. Everybody knows this. And it was just a very stressful time for me. Yeah. So, I was talking to Terrence, and I was like, man, I just need to get away and experience some freedom. And so I organized this trip to go to Hawaii. And as people have heard before, I invite him to come out, and he ends up coming out and staying with us for 10 days. And then you're out there. So now the first time we link up in Hawaii was at the skate park. Hawaii Kai, right? Hawaii Kai Skate Park.
Was I with Aiden?
You were with Aiden. Yeah. So can you wait? Who is the squad that you live with out there?
I live with Aiden, Jake, Tori, and I think at that time it was Marissa was living there.
And then who else was part of the
Kaylin? You knew Kaylin.
Kaylin. Who were the main the guys
I hung out with Aiden all the time. Oh, you knew Dave, too. Yes. He was from New Jersey.
Yes.
So you know, like, Mitch, too.
Which is crazy. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But listen, the squad of individuals that was out in Hawaii at this time that you knew, that you were part of, your squad, you and them, absolute fucking savages. Like, these kids, like, I'm telling you right now, and it's cool because I have stayed in contact with them, as we left. But, dude, the energy was unbelievable. And, dude, like, I'm talking when we were on the North Shore at Keikis.
Man, you know how, like, you know how you are. You're, like, you have, like, so much energy. So I feel like in the same way that I was, like, the first time I met you, I was just, like, a little, like, thrown off. I was like, oh, my God, like, this guy is, like, I liked you, but I was also, like, just a little intimidated, But my friends, my roommates loved you, like, from the start. Like, I showed them your videos, and they were like, we got to meet this guy. Like,
Well, that is the good thing.
They love the energy.
That is the good thing about the social media game as well, is that the videos I put out there, my pure energy, like when I'm truly like,
my favorite lightning. My favorite one is the one with the kids. The
baseball my God,
camp.
Dude!
What did you say? You go,
fire me up.
Fire me
up.
And the kids are going.
Dude, I'm clipping that in when we make the reel for this clip right here. I'm clipping that in. It's on. Yeah, that one's got a lot of views on TikTok as well. But that one, when I put that out for the first time, that one, and I'll clip it in, on the reels clips, not on the actual podcast. Yeah. But when I put that out for the first time, that was the most responded to story, I think, even to date, that I've put out. Like, I got so many responses on that. It was unbelievable. And again, the pure energy. Like, everybody was just riding.
Like, man, I just love I don't want to say childish because it's got a bad connotation, but I love that, like, childlike energy. It's the same reason I love, you know, I just love kids. I love being around kids, and like it's like Terrence's company, you know, like be like a kid. I love people who are just have that like that energy in them, you know, that like childlike,
dude.
Like you wanna run through a wall,
dude.
You know?
And it goes back to the dream chasing energy,
Yeah.
dude. I think kids and like younger people tend to have, you know, they don't get hit with all the things of life like that hit you and that can seem so big and put a delay on what you want to do or kind of put a pause in what you were going after. And like kids just go after their dreams. Like they love that. They love to look up to people who have made it or have done things or accomplished things. And like that dream chasing energy, it's awesome. And you're right. A lot of those videos do have that kind of energy in them. And that's the good thing about the social media is that like you get to show your friends like, yo, this is my friend from home. He's wild. This is Palsy. He's crazy. He's coming out to Hawaii. And then they watch that video and they're like, dude, we need this energy, you know?
Where did you meet them? So you met them you met Aiden at the skate park. We were skating. And then what happened? We were going to like Sandy's, right? Or we were going
where the whole squad, so
China walls.
So I met them all. There was somewhere I met them along the way before 2 other instances. So there was another instance where I was at your house where you guys lived.
The sickest house ever.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
It was unbelievable.
The backyard,
dude.
Big mango tree. We used to have a skate ramp in the backyard, too.
That place, first of all, the backyard was huge.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember?
On the highway, across the beach. But it was like this old, it was the perfect college house because it was old enough where it was super affordable and it was like in a nice neighborhood, but like it was on the highway. So like my roommates would like throw parties because the neighbors didn't hear anything because you're on the highway, and our neighbors were just cool anyway. And it was right across the street from the beach, but you had to like cross the highway, so it's not like too expensive. But it was just like perfect. There was a surf spot like across the street. It was the best house.
You guys
ever.
were closer, I think, to Hawaii Kai Skate Park than we were. So like that's why we were able to link up there. It might have been Kaylin that was at the skate park with us.
Yeah,
it was Kaylin who was riding, and then you know I meet him, and then we had another day at Keikis where the whole squad was there, and I remember one night Terrence needed something from you, and so we drove over, and it was nighttime, and you were like, yeah, everybody's home, like come on in. So I just like I have the video somewhere, maybe I can find it, whatever, and I just walk into the house, and I'm like light them up and let them fly, boys, and everybody's just.
I lived with 2 girls, and they were probably like this.
They were like, what the fuck? But the guys were just like, let's fucking go, and we were just. It was unbelievable.
I actually remember that. I'm pretty sure Aiden and my roommate Jake were like in boxers, like just like fired up, like.
That's what it was. Go. Fired up and let it fly, and then
my Tori and Marissa were like making dinner, like who is this
like,
lunatic in our house?
Yeah, and but then we had a whole nother day where we all were at Keikis together, and this was like the entire squad. Like you guys had all your friends that you knew from school and from around the area. Plus we had Terrence, myself, Will, Matt, Cat.
And we had Kern was there.
Yes.
Kern was there, and
Kern Igley,
yeah, and
well, Matt Cat,
Kendall Grogan's friends from Miami.
Oh my God, that's right.
We're visiting Hawaii, and they were
from
all
Florida.
there. Yeah, from Florida. They were all there, and it was Kern's birthday, I think.
Yeah, while we were out there, it might have been. It was somebody's birthday.
It was Kern's birthday, I think. Yeah,
and we were just.
Kern's
it
family,
was. Yeah. And we were all just. We had an entire squad up at Keikis Beach, and it was just unbelievable energy. Yeah, like, and that's when you guys like this. So this was the wintertime, which is when the North Shore is absolutely firing, and your entire squad is just firing the shore break, and these waves are massive. And I'm like, dude, like, you know, I went out there for a bit with Terrence, and you know, Terrence, he'll just, dude, these waves, like, people don't understand unless they've been there and felt it and heard it. Like, it's crazy in the wintertime on the North Shore. This is like, you talk about pipe, like, this is where the pro surfers are going for these massive contests, and the waves are whatever, 30, 40 feet. Like, they're crazy, even bigger sometimes. And
I mean, we're only in the shore break. It's only like 5-6 foot faces.
Yeah, they're
really,
nothing crazy.
But I mean, it was heavy.
No, they're strong. So, It's strong. And so like we're out there once. I go, all right, I made it in. I'm done. I got out, and I was like, all right, I'm good. Then you guys that day are just like, yo, let's go hit the shore break. And so you guys just charge right into the water and are just riding shore break. And I was like, oh, like riding these waves into the shore. And I'm like, yo.
I can't pull it through this right now, but I got a big cut on my arm.
No, it's powerful. And I was like, these guys are savages. And then, of course, you know, I see like everything else that's going on with the group of friends you have, and like those guys are awesome. Like, and they're all doing some crazy, like the way they do the hikes and the way they do like even Kaylin now is in the service, right? So I mean, like these guys are just you know, and they're unbelievable like people too. They're
just fun to be around.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had really a great. I think energy attracts energy, and I think it just made sense that you were like with that squad out there. Like it was just so much fun. When I have people that could really like embrace the energy, like it's you know, you have to know it. Like you said, you have to be familiar.
They got you cliff jumping right off that one cliff.
Yeah, so right by Sandy's, we were on the way back, and there's this cliff that Kaylin knew about, and so we all.
Kaylin's from there, so Kaylin like.
So we're there, and we all go and jump off, and then we're climbing up, and it was just, you know, being out in Hawaii at that time, like that, at that time, like I said, it was just like the vacation, you know, or the getaway I needed. And I went for like 3 weeks. It was cool. I got to be out there and like see you guys multiple times. I got to experience a lot of different hikes and all that. And of course, we went back for round 2 the next year. Will and myself, we were out there, and it was just unbelievable. I mean, while you were out there for school, did you get to go to any of the other islands, or have you been to any of the other islands?
Yeah, I've been to Kauai, but that's it. I didn't go to, because I had like a car on Oahu, so I wasn't really trying to figure everything out on a new island, you know, when I had so much to explore on Oahu, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just on like a surf kick too, so I was like, I just want to surf as much as I can. There's waves on other islands, obviously, but like getting to those waves and knowing those waves is like a whole thing. But I surfed on Kauai. That was a lot of fun. I went with like all my friends.
That's awesome.
I think it was Thanksgiving. We went.
Yeah, I got a Kauai I want to see. I mean, we went to the Big Island last time I was out there. That was insane.
Yeah.
We got to go see Pele. We saw, you know, we got to go see the stars up at the one volcano. I mean, it was a crazy experience. I mean, if anybody hasn't been out there, it's, you know, and actually, I think we were talking about this while I was out there, but was your goal always to make it back home after that? Or was there any point of view or was there any point where you were thinking about staying out there?
A little bit, but I can't, like when I first went out there, I knew I was coming home. And then there was a point midway through where I was like, maybe I could stay out here for a couple of years after school. But I ended up coming back just because, you know, I was going to school for teaching out there, and I was thinking, you know, maybe I could teach out here for a few years. But then when music started to do well, I was like, well, I'll just go home and I'll teach, but there's a lot more musical opportunity too in New Jersey, like near the city and stuff. So, and family.
Everybody's here. Everybody's here, and like you said, you mentioned you have a very close relationship with your family, so. You know, being that far away, you know, when I was out there, it's tough to stay in contact with everybody.
Yeah,
because, you know,
the time difference.
Yeah, you may think like only 6 hours or whatever it is, but it is tough because, like, you know, everybody's midday and already has their process going and everything, and then we're just waking up to get going for the day. You know, I'm just firing up the Folgers for the soldiers by the time they're almost done with work. You know, and you're trying to connect and everything. It's like I'm going to the gym when they're getting out. It's just it is tough, but. Again, it's like such a magical place out there, Hawaii. It's like I'm so connected to it now. Like the fact that I was able to go, and then
whenever I think of you in Hawaii, I just think of you in the UFC gym in the octagon.
Unbelievable.
Well,
you guys worked out at that gym, didn't you?
Yeah, Aiden had a membership. I didn't have a membership. I was just riding on Aiden's guest pass.
Yeah, great gym. Great gym. That video went crazy. I mean, the octagon, and still to this day, people think I fight UFC. Like they're like, dude, they're like, are you training? And I'm like,
someone asked me if you smoke cigarettes today. They go,
I love it.
Smoke cigarettes?
I love it because in the videos you got the unlit heater, and people are like, dude, do you actually rip the heaters? I guess you're gonna have to stay tuned to find out. Dog, we ain't gonna tell nothing. You're gonna see it in the videos. If it ever gets lit, it gets lit. That's what it is. So, but yeah, you know. Well, what's next for you? What do you got going on here? You going? You know? You said you mentioned you're teaching a little bit now.
I'm substitute teaching, recording a lot of music. Hopefully, we'll have a show shortly after whenever I drop this album. I'm probably gonna release like 2 singles first and then drop the album. But yeah, I sit in with people sometimes. Like I sat in with Kirk and the Jerks at Count Basie a couple weeks ago, which was cool. Or you know, Roddy in the summer or whoever is playing.
Yeah, have you ever played with Roddy or them? Or like, do you ever get to jam with them or no?
Not jam, but I'll just like, if I'm at Parker House and I see him, I'll like hop on stage and sing a few songs. He's a nice guy.
Pat Roddy's the only band that I really around here make a. And again, I'm more of like the EDM, you know, like the club, and you know, DJs is my spot. But we've had a couple legendary nights. But you know, he really is very like they crush it.
And he's just a super nice guy. He actually brought me before American Idol. My mom was actually at Parker House. It was like Mom's Beach Day, and my mom and all her friends were at Parker House. And they were like, oh, and my friends were pointing at me like, let him up, let him sing. And I sang Valerie with him. And I actually put that on TikTok, and it did pretty well on TikTok. And he was like, oh, cool, this like local kid or whatever sings. And then he saw me like on Idol, and he was like, whoa, like, and then after that, like I sing with him like pretty much every time I see him. So,
dude, just going to touch on the American Idol thing one more time. It's like when I saw that initially and saw that you had, because you weren't able to tell anybody, right? Like, because like
you can't. You could get sued. You sign like a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
Like,
so nobody knows. So
I think Corey knew.
So
Corey
then,
was one of the few people.
Let's fucking go, dog.
Who knew for like a couple months, maybe.
But when I saw that, I was just like, I knew you probably wouldn't be able to answer, because I was like, all right, well, if this is aired, then so many people have seen this already and are probably just blowing up your phone.
Yeah.
But I remember I tried to FaceTime you because I was at Red's behind the bar.
Yeah.
And we were like cleaning up, and I was just catching up on my social media, and I saw that, and I was like, no fucking way. I got fired. I was like, dude, I'm FaceTiming right now. You were probably like dead asleep, like,
yeah.
And it was late, we were cleaning up the
and
bar.
I was the first person of the season that they put out a video of, so it was like the exposure for those couple weeks was like insane.
That's awesome.
So it was cool. But yeah, I'm recording music now, and
what's the what's the ETA, or where you at with the album right now?
So I don't know when this is gonna come out, but it'll probably come out, spring of 2023.
So a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months. The songs are finished, the demos are pretty much done. So I gotta go into the legit studio soon and get stuff done.
Is there somewhere around here that you can go to record it?
Yeah, there's a few different options we're looking at. And then I think I'm going to go down to Nashville to do, like, vocals, maybe, like, after we track the band.
Good. Well, I'll be on the lookout for the album, that's for sure.
Thank you.
And then do you think you'll play, any shows this summer, or you're just kind of riding out what's going on?
Yeah, I'll definitely play at least one show this summer. I don't know where. Last summer I played House of Independence, which was fun, on top of, like, doing a couple of opening shows. But I don't push those as hard because, like, the opening shows is more, for exposure, whereas the headlining show is like you're trying to like actually sell tickets and sell it out.
Sure event.
So, yeah, I'll definitely play somewhere in Asbury this summer, and then maybe like I'm trying to play. You got to start regionally, like Philly or New York City. I just need more. I need more original material that's actually out there. Because if I'm playing original stuff that nobody's ever heard of, they're like, what is this? But if I put stuff out there and I still play covers too. It's not like I don't play any covers. The last show I played a lot of covers actually, but I'm just trying to like, at least for right now, and there's obviously no shame in playing covers. Just like I'm trying to go for the original thing and steer clear of like the cover gigs like Parker House and stuff. I mean, I'll hop up and do sitting and stuff, but I'm pursuing the dream. So
100%.
Yeah.
Well, listen, all the success up to this point, more than well deserved, dude.
Thanks, man.
It's unbelievable. So, and I'm hyped. I'm hyped to keep following what's going on, and I'm excited for the album.
You too. I'm excited. I'm excited for this too. I know you got a lot of episodes in store, and I'm excited to see people. The first time I saw you go viral on TikTok, I was like, oh, it's just gonna keep going.
Why?
People love your energy, man. Yeah. So just keep it going. It's all the energy.
Yeah, we'll try to, if I can get the episodes ready, we'll try to line this up to around the album release. That'd be cool if we could start firing.
And if not, like, if it's before then, that's cool because then people will know about it, and if it's after, that's cool because it'll already be out. But just my Instagram's Hallman Music. You can find like pretty much all my stuff there, or the link in my bio.
TikTok's the same or no?
TikTok's the same, yeah.
Follow them. Follow the journey, because I'm telling you right fucking now, dog. It's early in the game. It's early in the game, dude. Well, dude, for real, thank you. This was awesome, dude. So much fun. Like just listening to the story and getting the finer details, like I said at the beginning.
Yeah, man.
It was awesome.
I'd love to do it again and flip it on you and hear. Has anyone interviewed you yet?
I've done a few, but none to this length of, explaining everything. I did shout out to my guy, Hayden Warren, him and Nick Perez, shout out to them. They helped me figure out what equipment exactly we need, and kind of put it all together, and then, helped Corey learn the finer details of the setup of this. And so my guy Hayden Warren has interviewed me twice now.
Nice.
But I will say this, because this is going to come up in the future. I think I would serve better as a guest as opposed to a host on a podcast, because I'm very good at reacting to the energy that's thrown at me and telling stories like that.
Yeah.
But I do love hosting them because I get to learn the story
Yeah.
of everybody. And even if it's friends that I've known for some years now, like I said, those finer details
Yeah, you're
are stuff
a great
that I don't know.
storyteller,
So,
man.
yeah, so it's cool. So I am waiting on the day where I get to just go on a ton of podcasts and spit fire all day and just bring the energy. But I really do love hosting it as well, because learning about people is something that I've always loved too. So
All right, man. Well, thank you. Thanks to Corey for. I know Corey doesn't like to talk on this podcast,
absolute
but he's behind.
trooper.
He's like Jamie from Joe Rogan.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He's unreal. And we only started.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Only started an hour and a half late. That's kind of early for me. Usually we're 2 hours past the start time is when we actually start. So, but yeah, thank you again for coming on. This was an awesome episode. I had so much fun. Excited to see what goes on in the future here, brother.
Anytime, man.
All day. And we out. Let's go.